wanna be. And niggas trying to take my life away. I put a hole in a nigga for
Look at this cute little thing. Got a little ladder. Got a little back seat. What are you doing here?
Well, how was tight track? There you go. Okay, go.
Nice job! Yeah!
Look guys, I don't even know where I left off. I haven't taken any video in like a week. We went camping for Memorial Day with the kids up at Mount Hood. And I've been kind of doing some stuff in the shop here and there, but I don't know where I left off. So let me just give you a quick recap on what I've been doing and what I'm doing right now. So the VQ car, I did pull the tank out again. And while we were gone camping all weekend, I let it soak and did a much better job the second time of treating it for the rust inside. So I put it all back together. I also had a loose wheel bearing on this wheel, so I tightened that. And it should be good to go. It does kind of grind a little bit when I start it, so I think there's a couple teeth missing on the starter. Not a huge deal, but I did go ahead and order a starter and I'll swap that out when it shows up. Otherwise, good to go. And then I've been trying to plug away at the 2JZ Chaser. So you can see from underneath, this is that excessive plate that gives you the third mounting point for the rear diff. And it's also a one-piece reinforcement plate. Got that back from excessive, put it all in, new excessive bushings for here. And then I did go ahead and weld the diff. And then this is, I just finished putting the axles and the control arms all hooked back up. So that's all good. I also have the R transmission ready to test fit. And the reason why I say test fit is because I have the excessive hydraulic throwout bearing conversion on there with the new hydraulic throwout bearing. And I need to figure out how to run my lines. I'm at the point with the transmission now where I need to test fit it in the car and see where everything lands. I'm not gonna bolt the clutch or anything on because it'll be a lot easier to throw the transmission onto the motor like this. It'll just plop right on. But before I do that, I need to make room for the transmission. So I need to go inside the car and disconnect the automatic shifter and unbolt the automatic shifter and get that out of the way. And while I was under here, I'm also disconnecting the e-brake line because I am gonna convert this from a GX foot brake e-brake to a JZX style pull-up handbrake. So I do have an OEM pull-up handbrake and it'll replace this and hopefully just plug right into that. Also, I might as well give you a quick update on the engine bay from the last week or so. I did get the top section of the downpipe all done. I do need to test fit the clutch pedal to make sure it's going to clear the O2 sensor. I'm pretty sure it's going to, but I need to check that. I also got the wastegate completely hooked up, and here's the line for it. I went ahead and tapped that on the turbo, and that goes down to the wastegate, and the wastegate's completely hooked up. I still need to route the wastegate dump tube, but that can go on later when I'm doing the exhaust. I also got this adapter coupler to go from 3-inch to the 2-inch, so I can run my intercooler piping off that. Also got my new radiator in and my new fans. So these are universal brushless fans. Oscar's used these on some other swaps and had really good luck with them. I know there's no shroud, that's a big no-no, but these are pretty high CFM brushless fans. and they should do the job just fine. And they're pretty slim, so I got lots of room for activities here still. I think the next step in the engine bay is going to be to get the clutch pedal put in so I can make sure the clutch master is going to clear the exhaust. I need to do and I also need to take the front bumper off and mount the front mount intercooler. Once I get the front mount intercooler on and the transmission in its final resting place and bolted in, the engine's not going to move anymore, so I can go ahead and have Shane make my intercooler piping. I haven't really touched the inside yet because I haven't had a need to. So time to get the whole center console removed so I can get the shifter out and the e-brake stuff. I got to pull that out. And then if I have time today, I'm going to go ahead and install the clutch pedal and the clutch master. So I got the center console out of the chaser, and then I cut the shifter hole to be a lot bigger for the tripod R transmission. And I got her kind of in. I don't have the JZX mount and transmission cross member. I actually don't know if I do or not, but this is the one that came out of the GX, and then I went ahead and spaced it up with 2 hockey pucks, and that's pretty much where it wants to sit. You can see I got the shifter clearance all out, so it's up inside the cab now. And I've got 2 bolts holding the transmission to the motor. I can go ahead and eyeball where these lines can come out, if I can snake them through here and get up to the clutch master, or if I have room to go up straight through the top. So I need to figure that out now. Well, I got it bolted in, so then that way I can have Excessive make me the lines. It'll be a line to go to the master and then a bleeder line. So that way it'll have a remote bleeder up by the master as well to make it easy to bleed, so we don't have to get under the car to crack it. So I'm gonna do some poking around and see which way I want to run these lines. I'm making some progress. My factory JZX coolant hoses fit, so that's good. They're just on there for a mock-up, so I need to take those back off. The one problem I found yesterday though when I was putting the transmission in is that my oil pan is like that high above the subframe and steering rack. So this motor, this 2J is out of an Aristo in Japan, and it had the Aristo mounts already on it, and they're 2-bolt to go to the subframe, just like the X chassis. So I was like, well, I'll just use those. But I feel like I need that extra inch and a half of clearance to drop the motor down onto the subframe for a couple reasons. My turbo is pretty close to the brake master. My downpipe's pretty close to the clutch master. I went to Excessive today because with the trans in, I was able to pull my measurements for my clutch line and bleed line because it's an internal slave. So I dropped those measurements off so they can make me my clutch lines. And I also dropped off my drive line to either have it modified or to have a custom one-piece drive line made. And they do make motor mounts, so they gave me some nice JZ mounts that are actually a little bit lower even than the 1G mounts. So I think I'm going to try to slide these in first, and if they fit and the oil pan still has room above the subframe, it's just going to get new mounts. Also, the R transmission already had a bushing mounted to it, but I don't have a cross member. So Excessive makes 2 different ones, and they're very similar, but the spacing from where they mount to the body is a little bit different. So they just gave me both of them, and they said, bring the one back that I don't need. Super nice to have a shop like that that's only a half an hour away, because I can do stuff like this, and it also helps the community because I'll let them know which one works or which one needs to be modified to work, and they can either put that information on their website for future customers, or they can make me the one that I need So then they'll have it available for you guys. So I'm gonna get started with, since it's all bolted in right now already, I'm gonna go ahead and get started with the transmission mount, because once I get that figured out, I can actually pull the transmission out of the car. Then tomorrow, when I get the clutch lines, I can install the clutch parts onto the engine and put the transmission back in with the lines hooked up and the mount for the last time. So it looks like the transmission cross member that was further apart is gonna be the one that fits the chassis. And I'll just need to open up the holes a little bit where it mounts to that bushing. It's the next day and I swung by Excessive again and got some much needed parts. And I went ahead and picked up their engine mounts. These have the longer stud because the Aristo has the GS mounts on the block, which are thicker. So those should be nice and give me the drop in the engine to the subframe and steering rack that I'm looking for to give me that extra clearance up top. They also stock the AC delete belt, so I got that. And they have the transmission lines all done. The way I'm gonna run the lines, since the exhaust is on this side, I'm gonna run the lines through this hole where the old slave was. That way they'll tuck nicely away from the moving clutch parts. So now I'm in a position where I can swap the motor mounts, and then that'll be done. And then I can lift the car up, install the flywheel and clutch parts, put the lines on the transmission, and install the transmission for the last time, hopefully. All right, the new lower engine mounts are in. Still have plenty of room for that intercooler pipe, which is great. Created a little more space between here and quite a bit more space between here. So once I'm done with the exhaust and the whole car is pretty much done, I am gonna take the downpipe off and heat wrap it. I already have the heat wrap, so that'll help with that also. And lowering the motor gave me plenty of room to get to that water fitting on the back. So overall, very happy with these motor mounts that are nice and short. Now it's time to lift the car up, see what my oil pan clearance is. And then I gotta do some shaving on this rib here. So that I can put the 90-degree fitting on without it going this way towards the clutch. I want it to go straight sideways. So I gotta shave that, put these two lines on, loop them through there, put the clutch kit on, and tranny can go in. All right, well that was a little bit of a task. You can see I had to clearance the bell housing so that I could get the lines to go in as far as possible. So this is gonna be going to the clutch master, and this is gonna be the remote bleeder. Putting them through this hole here was kind of nice because it allows them to be pulled away from the clutch, and then the lines all hook up after I get it installed. I do have the clutch parts all bolted in and torqued to spec. So it's time to finally get this transmission installed.
Go, go! Go, 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 Kai, go, Kai. All the way, Kai. Go, go, go. Go, Kai, go. Get up, over.
Ooh, that was a good throw.
On three, on three. On three. Hey, baby. That's good. That's good.
Hey, good job, bud. Hey, what's up, guys? I just want to interrupt this video real quick to give you all a PARCDrift update. So, if you don't know already, watch previous videos. Been battling the Clackamas County to get park reopened for a while now. They got shut down a few years ago. I tried to get tracks built at PIR or Woodburn. Didn't go so well. Chris's lawyer for park didn't do so well last year. So I'm trying again. That's just a quick recap. Go back and watch previous videos to get the full story and what's been going on. So when I originally submitted the application, it's basically a non-conforming use application because Pat's Acres is zoned ag and they have a existing go-kart track there. So that was back in the day originally a non-conforming use permit to have the go-karting on ag land, because per Clackamas County, a racetrack can't exist unless it's some sort of rare commercial property It really doesn't exist. So they gave him a non-conforming use permit back in the day to have the go-karting track, and everything that Chris does now at Pat's Acres has to be an alteration to that existing permit. So I submitted an application for drifting a couple months ago now. They came back in and asked for a list of demands, things to change or add or whatever. I took a couple weeks and made those changes, resubmitted. They came back with another list of demands. I made some tweaks and changes again, resubmitted. And now I think this is my third time making a resubmission for the application. And this time it came back complete. So once they give you a completion on your application, it goes to a 20-day period where they notify all the properties around where you're trying to do the permit, so that the neighboring community around that property has a chance to give their input. We already went through this process when Chris's lawyer did this a year or two ago. And so we already had a good idea what their complaints were gonna be. So that was kind of good because we were able to try to combat those complaints in the forefront on the application itself, so that hopefully we'll have a better outcome this time around. Although the application is deemed complete right now and we're going through that 20-day process, there was an email that I got from the county along with the completion notice that stated a few concerns that they still had. I wish they would have just deemed it incomplete, because to me, these are issues that were similar to what the issues were on the last couple submissions, which they seem to have just been giving me the incomplete so that I can make those changes and then resubmit a more complete application to the standards that they're looking for to give me a better chance of a good outcome. But nonetheless, they gave me a complete this time. So I am emailing and calling the county to try to get another in-person meeting, because I've always got the incomplete and then scheduled an in-person meeting and then gone down there in person and actually went over the application with them to kind of iron out the details that they're asking for. So that way when I resubmit, it looks and sounds the way that they want it to and has the information that they're looking for. So hopefully in this 20-day period, I can get that meeting together with them and then have the information ready when the time comes. They do send out a notice. It looks like this to all the neighboring communities. I'm going to show it to you up close so you guys have all the information. It's not limited to the neighboring community. So even though you may not get the notice in the mail because you don't live around Pat's Acres, you still have the right and freedom to go on the website or mail in a personal letter and give your opinion on what's going on. So I just wanted to put this out there, and hopefully you guys spread the word and share and like and comment and get this video out there so that anybody in the drifting community that wants to give their input can do so. I just got this notice on 5/29. So the community has 20 days from 5/29/25 to give their input. So if you're gonna mail something in, it would be really helpful if you did it in the next couple days to make sure there was plenty of time for Clackamas County to receive that letter and review it. If you're gonna do it online, you might have the whole week, but I would probably suggest doing it this week if you want to be heard. Now, like I said before though, if this does come to an unfavorable decision, again, anything down that road, I am gonna ask for an in-person hearing. That way the community, you guys, have a chance to step up and show up in person to give your input any way you'd like in person. Let me show you this form real quick. So this might be a good time to pause and screenshot so that you have the information and you can go look it up online and know where to go on their website to submit it, or know where to mail in your letter. So this is what the letter is going to look like that goes to all the neighboring communities. You can see the date is 5/29/25. Everybody within 2,640 feet of Pat's Acres is going to get this. There's the file number. You're going to need to put that on the website when you submit online. or make sure you put that in your heading of your letter if you mail in a physical letter. It's a non-conforming use. This is the actual explanation of what we're submitting. So I'll let you read through that. This application proposes a modification of an existing non-conforming use at Pat's Acres to replace up to 15 days per year of track usage for go-karts with track usage for drifting of automotive vehicles. The proposal includes a limitation of drifting use on the track to once per month, with some months having drifting on 2 consecutive days, with track usage beginning no earlier than 10 a.m. and no track use for more than 7 hours in one day. The proposal would include a limit of 14 cars using the track at one time for drifting use and no more than 180 participants per day of drifting. In addition, the applicant has proposed to plant 30 willow trees in the southwest corner of the property and 120 willow trees on the west side of the property along the Pudding River, in addition to allowing these areas to naturally revegetate. And here's the backside just so you can review it and see everything that it says. So obviously this is laid out so that if you receive this letter and you're one of the neighbors, here's where you can write your comment and your name and your phone number and just send this in. But anybody else is welcome to comment right here. So to ensure your comments are considered prior to issuance of decision, they must be received within 20 days of the date of this letter. They may be submitted by email to the staff contact, which is Nick, or by regular mail. And the regular mail is this information right here. Well, that's where we're at right now, guys. It is Monday, June 2nd, and this is the first step of how you guys as the drifting community can reach out and help support this cause and get Pat's Acres reopened for drifting for everybody. If you feel like commenting, it'll help a ton. If you feel like sending in a letter or doing it on the website, either way, it's up to you. It's gonna be nice to have on our side of the argument. I will still continue to give you guys updates and let you know how this process goes. Thanks for all the support so far. Again, please like, comment, subscribe, share, all the things. But mostly, send in your letter and leave comments and give your input. Well, I think I'm gonna end that video here, guys, because obviously I need to get this video out so you guys can start sharing the information. And yeah, and stay tuned for the next video. We gotta wait for that period to end. In the meantime, I'll probably just be finishing up the 2J Chaser and starting the Atlas Swap Mark II, hopefully. And then if I have time, I'll be trying to button up the LS S14. So stay tuned for the next video, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, but share. Please share this video and tell your friends to go comment and be ready to step up again. Thanks for all the support, and I'll see you next time. Peace.